Hello and welcome to the Enterprise Talk Conversation Series, a peer knowledge resource by the CXOs for the CXOs. Now to our host, Kanika Goswami.
Hi, welcome you to our podcast On Stage with Enterprise Thought Leaders. My name is Kanika and I'm the managing editor of On.media's B2B enterprise technology publications. We have engaging conversations with global thought leaders and industry experts, both in technology and in marketing. And these conversations reach about 1.3 million audiences worldwide. New research from HubSpot finds that 3 in 4 UK business leaders feel that they're falling behind on AI adoption, with integration challenges, lack of training, and internal resistance emerging as the top blockers to their adoption of AI. Accordingly, HubSpot has unveiled more than 200 new features at its Spring 2025 Spotlight event, including AI-powered tools and productivity features that are designed to help sales and support teams move faster without added complexity. Today, we're speaking with Mark Barry. He's a managing director of EMEA, to understand how these enhancements will support marketing teams in sales and marketing in the UK. Welcome. It's lovely to have you here today, Mark, with us. It's a okay. So before we move to the questions, a little bit of introduction to Mark. Over 25 years of experience in sales, technology, payments, and media, building and leading multi-market teams. And now Mark is at HubSpot as managing director and vice president of EMEA. In his role, he's focused on empowering businesses to grow using HubSpot's customer platforms while leading the overall go-to-market strategy in the EMEA business. Mark boasts over 25 years of experience, including leadership roles at Stripe and Google. And I was looking through your profile and I also found some very interesting educational background, which I don't think we are mentioning here. But it's great to have you with such a diverse level of knowledge. It's not always we meet corporate leaders with that kind of knowledge levels. So you're most welcome. My first question to you, Mark, and these are the proposed points of discussion. So, feel comfortable. What are some of the key challenges that you're seeing businesses face right now, whether operationally, strategically, or from a customer expectations standpoint?
Thanks for the question. I think it's tough out there. There's a lot of challenge in the market today for businesses. Not least uncertainty around macroeconomics, geopolitics, disruption from technology. But I think that what we find when we speak to growth leaders at businesses, many of them are facing the same challenges. They're being asked to continue to grow while cutting costs, finding ways to differentiate against their competitors, and finding ways to attract new customers. Those challenges are not unique, and in fact, they're becoming more complex with advancements in technology and with an increase in competition. Particularly as technology creates more opportunity for businesses to grow and thrive.
So many organizations are grappling with disconnected systems and fragmented data. Why is this such a persistent issue? Why are so many businesses facing this? And how do you think leaders should be thinking about solving it?
Yeah, it's true. I think, as businesses scale, what tends to happen is you amass this kind of infrastructure of, inherent complexity because you might add new tools. Maybe it's a marketing tool, or it's a prospecting tool, or it's a data tool, or it's an administrative tool, and with all of that added complexity, you just experience a bunch of fragmentation, right? You probably those tools are used possibly uniquely by individual teams, and so not everybody in the organization gets the benefit of the data that's captured there. The teams themselves are probably dispersed, especially now in a kind of post-pandemic environment. And the data is certainly fragmented. We have found through research that businesses will typically use around 14 different applications, go-to-market teams. So across sales and marketing and customer success, your data could be across, 14 different places, possibly more. How that information is captured is going to be different in every single instance. And so teams struggle to create one single view of the customer across all of those interactions. And that's everything from that first marketing interaction, either on your website or on your socials, right through to the last time a customer contacted you, about maybe a challenge they're facing with the product or the experience that they're having with your service. And so that fragmentation, that complexity, just makes it really, really hard for business leaders to make progress, and especially when personalization and differentiation. I mentioned differentiation at the start. There's a much higher demand from customers, from consumers, to be spoken to in a personal way. And it's really difficult to do that if all of your customer data is fragmented across different teams and different tools.
So then we are talking here about how AI can help in personalization as well as customization of messages. But even though AI tools are being used there, it's everywhere in the headlines, but many businesses still feel uncertain whether they're using it the right way. So what's your advice for leaders looking to take the first meaningful steps with AI, without the complexities, without the challenges, without the question marks?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think, the advances in AI have come so quickly and so fast that many business leaders are just confused, and maybe in a bit of a state of inertia, not really knowing what the best thing to do is. How do I adopt this technology? How do I adapt my business to take advantage of AI? And really, I suppose the first principle to acknowledge is that AI is not your technical team's problem, or your engineer's problem, or your sales reps challenge to understand. It's really everybody's business to understand AI, and it doesn't need to be so complex. What we're finding already, if you take the large language models, the open AIs of this world, the Claudes, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, you're talking about applications with literally hundreds of millions of users around the world using this today. And AI is now becoming an embedded part in people's lives, and that has happened really rapidly. Even if you think back 3 months, your own experience of AI, how you use it today versus how you might have used it 3 months ago, I imagine that you've seen quite a change in your own use of it. And so really, what the first encouragement to business leaders is, use it. Get your hands in AI, whether it be a personal application, setting up a custom GPT that can help you, organize your day or organize your thoughts, to really just become accustomed and acquainted with the power of it, because very quickly you'll find that there are parts of your day that you can't do without some assistance from AI. And then the second thing I think to think of is, you think about, like, well, what does AI mean for my business? Don't start with, I need to AI my business. Start by thinking of a problem or a task or something, some friction in your business that potentially could be solved by AI. And a good way to think about that might be, if you think about repeatable, predictable tasks or time wasting tasks, things that just take a lot of effort, but could be automated. Or previously you might have thought they could be offshored, or they could be eliminated completely. There's a good possibility that AI can play a role in doing something for you there. And again, some very basic examples. If it was taking your team, a sales rep in your team, 2 hours to prepare for a customer meeting, doing the research that goes into that, there's a good chance that if they're using AI, they can shortcut that. We've seen that ourselves in our own business, where stuff that might have taken hours in the past now takes minutes. With good prompts, using the right tools, you can really accelerate that process. And there are multiple examples of that across your business. I think it's also helpful for business leaders to enlist the support of the people in your team. there's a good chance that there are folks already in your business that are finding shortcuts to their day using AI. Talk to them, ask them what they're doing, see how you can, replicate that, and see if there's a real time saving, there for your team by just doing that.
So this is not only for marketing, even customer facing roles. Beyond that, to internal productivity tools, AI powered agents are really being used everywhere for almost everything. You did mention some use cases. Would you like to um, share about where you see the most promising use case areas, and how should businesses be approaching those situations? Because, like you very correctly said, you cannot adopt a tool for the sake of adopting AI. There has to be a business solution required. There has to be a challenge which needs to be met. Correct. So what would you identify as the top, probably couple of challenges that AI tools can help businesses with?
Yeah, I think if we look across go-to-market teams, and let's take marketing, sales, and service. I think in marketing, we have this idea that AI creates and humans curate. And the idea there could be, if you're a content marketer spending a lot of time on creating material and posts and doing a lot of formatting to make sure that those things fit into the right place through your distribution channels. AI does that today. AI can do that for you, and save you tons and tons of time. It's not to say that AI is going to become your copywriter necessarily, but it might be the starting point for you to then, curate that raw output and turn it into something that works for you. And of course, AI, built on kind of machine learning principles, can learn from what you curate and then put out into the world and optimize your content as a result of that. That's something that would normally have taken humans hours to do. Whole days sometimes, depending on the campaign, the scale. And so there are tools already that allow you to do that, and that's everything from content copy through to image and video and even audio. Just some incredible advances in technology that allow you to do that. I think on the sales side of things, the biggest killer for sales teams is the time that they spend doing admin and not talking to customers. And really the goal is to try and find the space in the day to free that up to talk to customers. And so practical applications of AI are around call and meeting prep, which I mentioned earlier, but also things like automating follow-up, creating using conversational intelligence, for example, to come up with specific topics on a call that need to be followed up with and can be followed up with quickly. And these are, again, time-saving applications that reps today can use. If you then think about things like customer success, again, one of the things that is really common in customer support and in customer success is customers just want to find fast ways to get answers. They don't always want to talk to a human. They want to be able to just discover the answer, on a website or through some digital interaction. And chat and the advance in chat and the advance in performance through AI is really producing quality results. Our own customer agent, in fact, has a resolution rate of over 50%, and customers that are using it are finding that they're able to free up time from their customer success teams to focus on, higher quality tasks with their customers. So these things are already there. As somebody mentioned to me recently, which I thought was a really great way to look at it, there's often concern or fear among professionals. They might be marketers, or they could be business development reps or sales reps or customer service agents, and their concern is, well, AI is going to replace me. And I think actually, like, that's not the thing really to focus on. I think the marketer or the sales rep or the customer service rep or the business development rep that masters AI is what you need to be more concerned about. Those folks that are developing the skills are likely to be the most useful, professionals of the future.
Salespeople are always the most useful professionals. They're the ones who drive the business. So not the future, the present as well. But I just had a question, and that is not listed as one of my questions. I just wanted to know, do you also feel that using AI tools for your marketing or content outreach gets you better personalization because of its ability to learn more about the market, the geo-demographic, political scenario of your customer target market? So crafting very targeted, very personalized, very customized products, responses, or outreach is possible when you're using AI tools more than humans, because humans would have to do a whole lot of research to find out what kind of demographics would prefer what kind of probably messaging, not even product. So
Yeah.
would you also add that to a use case?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, what we have found is that personalization is not really a luxury anymore. It's really an imperative, and you think about your own experiences, Kanika, you much prefer it when you're dealing with, with a business, with a supplier, with if you're, a consumer buying consumer goods, the experience just feels so much better when it's personalized. And that's everything from the initial outreach or social contact that you might have with them, right through to a customer support query. So personalization is not a nice to have. It's not a luxury. It's a must have. And in fact, we've done research that found that businesses that can't personalize are 2 times more likely to risk losing a customer to attrition. To businesses that can. And they're also leaving money on the table. Personalization actually boosts revenue performance, again, through some research that we've looked at by as much as 50%. If you're able to do this level of personalization, you're much, much more likely to create a resonant connection with that customer, have that customer leave that experience feeling good about the interaction they've had, and have them come back and stay.
Right. So, as organizations grow, whether through multi-brand strategies or operating across multiple regions or channels, or even diversifying into various different products, what are the key operational challenges that they need to be prepared for?
I think that's a great question. I think particularly if you're looking at strategies that target multiple segments or multiple geographies. The things really to pay attention to, again, in the vein of personalization, is to make it relevant to that audience. If you're speaking to businesses across different verticals, let's imagine your business is quite a horizontal business and can manage multiple verticals. Your stakeholders and your prospects and customers want to know that you understand their vertical. And so that personalization, again, at every interaction is important. But similarly, if you're going across different geographies, the very first and most basic, almost table stakes requirement is that you personalize or you localize in the language, right? So you speak that actual language in that market, and you're aware of anything that might be unique to the market. For example, regulation, tax considerations, consumer habits, things that are likely to be important when a customer is making a purchasing decision. And so I think really, again, being aware of how personalization and localization play a role in your success as you go across those different segments and different geos.
Right. And so you've been in the industry for 2.5 decades now. So what are some consistent pain points that you hear from customers, and how do those conversations shape the way you think about business evolution?
I think the consistent pain point for businesses, especially business leaders, is the pressure to continually grow the business, while being able to deal with competition, while being able to differentiate and set yourself apart. And if anything, I think that's just become more complex over years. Again, technology is an incredible tool. It has supported, the development of of our economies. It's supported the development of small businesses. It's created economic access for entire countries and populations. But it has also just created more complexity for business leaders. And that is only increasing at a higher rate of proliferation as tools just become, more available and more accessible. So that challenge has never really gone away. The most adaptive leaders are the ones that start with a plan and a strategy. And their plan and strategy is to deliver with speed, to deliver with the customer in mind first, to deliver in a way that creates trust with their customers. Again, increasingly, the environment is challenging, and trust is an incredibly important part of the equation in a relationship between a buyer and a vendor. And so, speed, customer focus, building trust, and staying at pace with technology are the things that have, they've always been important, but they're ever more important now.
So now that we are speaking in the historical context, let me ask you, looking ahead 2025, that's in the rest of 2025 and beyond, what should business leaders be paying attention to if they want to stay ahead of the curve? And here, it would be nice if you could focus on marketing leaders in particular.
Yeah, I think marketing leaders need to really pay attention to where their customers are. I think, more than any discipline in go-to-market marketing, everything from generating brand awareness right all the way through the funnel, has changed, and particularly digital marketing. We know that search has been disrupted through AI, and that consumers are finding more useful answers, in AI, and the blue link that they used to click, they're not even getting as far as that. Quite often as well, users are turning to social for answers. They're looking to peers, they're looking to influencers, not necessarily brands. They're looking to those influencers for their cues on what to buy or where to spend their time. And marketers need to not only be aware of those challenges, but find ways to circumvent them. Find ways to tap into a consumer that is spending more time on social, or is spending more time, away from search and using AI. And, again, the probably predictable answer to that is they need to stay at pace with technology and find the kind of cutting edge ways to engage with customers. I mean, it's a long time since there has been a straight line funnel from awareness right down to to making a purchasing decision. Ever since the kind of the evolution of not just search but also video and blogging and things like that, the kind of customer journey has meant that research is mostly done well in advance of a purchase, or before that person ever comes into any of your properties. And that's never been more true than it is right now. So marketers, I think, need to pay attention to where their consumers are and building engaging ways to distribute content to them, and find ways to address them in a personal way that allows them then to engage back with your business.
And I have to thank you with that. My questions are over. If there's something you think you need to convey to the audiences, especially to the CMOs who may be listening in, you're free to add it now, because I'm done with whatever I wanted to ask you.
What I would say is, I think, particularly in a world of such fragmentation, fragmented tools, different places to find customer data, probably spread across all over your business from every interaction. I think a way to go is to find ways to unify your customer data. Your customer data is going to be the currency through which you're able to access those customers, create meaningful connections with them, and develop loyal, long-lasting relationships with them. So find ways to unify your data, find ways to make those customer interactions as seamless as possible, and find ways for the tools within your organization to be adopted by your teams. If you've got too many of them, you're going to lose adoption, you're going to lose quality of data, which means you're going to reduce that currency that you have at the core. Come talk to me if you need help with that.
Certainly, we'll put it out there on your behalf. But for now, thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you so much for being with us. Please do follow us on social media for regular updates and new content.